Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're going to peel back the layers of myth around one of history's most feared and, honestly, most misunderstood groups, the Assassins.
Now, a lot of us probably know them from video games, right? Like Assassin's Creed, where they're these kind of cool, renegade anti-heroes. But the real story, the one that inspired the legend, it's way more complex, and it's all rooted in centuries of some serious religious and political drama.
So to really get a grip on who the assassins were, we've got to rewind. I mean, way back all the way to the very beginning of Islam and a massive split in the faith that would just keep echoing for generations.
And look, this wasn't just a one-and-done thing. It was like a domino effect, a whole cascade of crises over who should lead, stretching across hundreds of years. You had the first big one, the Sunni Shia split, and from there, it just kept branching off. New factions, new beliefs, basically setting the stage for centuries of conflict.
Okay, so the real turning point for our story, that happens in 1094, down in Fatimid, Egypt. You've got the heir, Nizar. He's 50, he's experienced, he's ready. Everyone expects him to take over. But nope. A super powerful vizier pulls off a palace coup and puts Nizar's 20-year-old kid brother on the throne instead. Why? Because a 20-year-old is way easier to control, right? Nizar, of course, fights back, but he's captured and executed. And that single event is what sparks his followers in Persia to just break away and start their own thing.
And these followers, they become the Nizari Ismailis. Now, they've basically been kicked out, they're being hunted down, but they're about to carve their own place in history, all thanks to a new leader who was absolutely brilliant and totally ruthless.
So let's talk about that man, the founder of the Nizari state, Hassan-i Sabbah. We're going to see how he built an entire empire, not with huge armies, but from a single isolated mountain fortress.
So, Hassan was this missionary, right? And for years, he travels all over the massive Seljuk Empire, basically doing reconnaissance. He's sizing up their military, figuring out their weaknesses. Remember, his people are being persecuted by these guys, the Seljuk Turks. So he comes up with this totally revolutionary plan. It's not about big open battles. No, it's all about infiltration and surgical strikes.
Okay, so how did he do it? I mean, this is just incredible. His takeover of the fortress of Alamut, which was supposed to be impenetrable, was an absolute masterclass in strategy. He doesn't show up with an army. Instead, he sends in his missionaries first. They start converting the local villagers, then the soldiers inside the fortress. So by the time Hassan himself shows up, the governor is totally alone, surrounded by people loyal to Hassan. He literally has no choice but to just leave. The fortress was taken without a single drop of blood being spilled. Genius.
And just like that, Alamut becomes the capital of this totally new kind of state. It wasn't a single chunk of land. It was a whole network of these mountain strongholds scattered all over, often deep inside enemy territory. And a setup that unique, well, it's going to require a whole new way of fighting just to survive.
Yeah, and they had no army that could go head-to-head with the massive Seljuk Empire. That would be suicide. So Hassan turned to a different kind of weapon, one that was precise, absolutely terrifying, and just ruthlessly effective.
These agents were called the Fidai. And we need to be clear, they weren't just seen as hired killers. Within their own community, they were heroes, totally revered figures. Their missions were often one-way trips, basically suicidal, and they required this incredible level of courage and devotion to their cause.
And just look at their list of targets. This shows you exactly how strategic they were. This was never random violence. No way. They were like surgeons, removing the key figures who threatened them. Powerful Seljuk officials, rival warlords, even crusader kings. If you were a direct threat to the Nizari state, you ended up on their list. And this just perfectly captures their psychological game. Imagine being this powerful sultan, Ahmad Sanjar, and you wake up to find a dagger stuck in the floor right next to your bed. Attached is a note that basically says, if I didn't like you, this would be in your chest. I mean, can you imagine? The threat alone was often more powerful than the actual act. After this, the Sultan not only left them alone, but he supposedly paid them off every year. They literally weaponized fear to secure peace.
So for almost 200 years, this incredible state survived. They used their wits, their daggers, and pure psychological warfare to hold off these massive empires. It's an amazing story of survival. But then, in the 13th century, something new and unstoppable comes charging out of the east.
We're talking about the Mongols, a true juggernaut that just rolled across the Islamic world, crushing everything and everyone in its path. And here's the key difference. Unlike the Seljuks, the Mongols didn't care about politics or threats. They weren't playing games. And the Nizari fortresses, they were directly in their way.
Yeah, those old tricks, assassinations, scary notes, high walls, they meant nothing to the Mongols. Their whole strategy was total annihilation. So after the last Nizari leader surrendered Alamut, the Mongols just erased it. They tore down the walls, burned the incredible libraries, and slaughtered thousands. Everything that had taken centuries to build was gone.
By 1270, it was all over. The very last castle fell. The state that Hassan-i Sabbah had so carefully constructed was systematically wiped off the map. Its people were killed or scattered to the four winds.
So that's it, right? Their state is gone, their knowledge is burned, their people are scattered. You'd absolutely think this was the end of the line for the Nizari Ismailis. It really seems like their chapter in history is closed for good.
But here is the incredible twist. Against all odds, they survived. The state was gone, yes, but the community, the people, the idea, it endured. Today, there are an estimated 15 million Nizari Ismailis living in more than 25 countries around the world.
You see, their story didn't just end with the Mongols. It completely transformed. It went from being a story of political survival with the dagger to a story of a modern, global community of faith, led by their 49th Imam, the Aga Khan. A community that's now known for focusing on things like development, education, and charity.
And that just leaves us with this one last thought. When you look past all the myths, the daggers, the shadows, the legends, the most remarkable part of the Nizari story isn't the assassinations, it's the survival. What does it take for an idea to survive, even when the state that birthed it is utterly destroyed? It really makes you think. It seems a community, an idea, can be far more resilient than any stone fortress could ever be.